Welcome everybody to this week's bi-weekly community call. We hold our community calls every other week on X at 11 a.m. Eastern and 3 p.m. UTC. We gather to talk about the state of DeFi and risks and yields, have some of the team updates delivered from Hugh himself, and also highlight whatever is new in our community. Welcome. Today, we're gonna talk a little about the state of DeFi. Brave publishes reports on the state of DeFi every week, and they're really useful. We're gonna go over some of the recent developments, and then we'll hear from Brave again about the latest protocol cover listings and get some more highlights about our ecosystem partners and some new products like the bundle protocol cover, which has been quite successful the past 2 weeks. And then we'll hear from Hugh with foundation team updates, have some more announcements. And before we open up the open forum for any community questions, I'll shortly give more details about the POAP and how to receive it. All right, let's go then. Brave, how is the state of DeFi these days?
Yeah, so I am BraveNewDeFi. I'm speaking from the Nexus account, but I am the head of community and I manage things on the product side within Nexus. And like Sam had said, I write the State of DeFi Yields report and publish that on Mirror every week. I am finishing up the report for today since I was off yesterday for the holiday, just getting that up and getting that ready. So as far as DeFi yields go and just kind of like the general market sentiment, we're still very much in a sideways market. We've seen ETH decline about like I think it's 8.6% here over the last 7 days. Funding rates have come down. We saw an initial spike on ETH funding rates last week, but they've kind of leveled down. So I think the sentiment is settling a little bit, but there's still quite a few yield opportunities out there in DeFi. A lot of those are being powered by the Athena Shards campaign, yields on SUSDE, and on the yields for ETH in Gearbox and the liquid restaking token strategies through Pendle and the other points farming strategies. So there's still a lot happening on that side. I think one of the bigger topics of discussion this week, which I'll rope Hugh into and get his opinion, is about Maker's recent deployment of funds into a Morpho Blue market. So SparkDAO, which is a sub-DAO within Maker, initially deployed 100 million DAI into a lending market they created within Morpho Blue, which is a permissionless lending market that the Morpho team has built. It's relatively simple. I think it's 600 lines of code, but there's a lot of optionality that people have in setting up permissionless lending markets. What SparkDAO has done is they've created the market between DAI and USDE, and then DAI and SUSDE. They put 100 million last week in DAI. It's basically fully utilized and is printing money for MakerDAO. So they have a proposal on the forum to up the DAI coming from the direct DAI module into MakerDAO or into MakerDAO's Morpho Blue markets. So they're upping that to 600 million with the total potential to be a billion DAI, which is a very large portion of the DAI supply. So there have been a lot of people that have kind of raised concerns about this, the added risk for DAI holders, and whether or not this is a prudent allocation of funds. From my perspective, I recently, this morning, just responded to Llama on the Brink, who is active within Synthetics and has a lot of takes about DeFi and the Ethereum ecosystem on a whole, and just talked about the change in risk appetite for Maker. This kind of fits in with their end game plan, but it definitely is a little alarming to see not just Maker, but so many other protocols integrate USDE and SUSDE throughout DeFi. So from my perspective, it's just worrying to see something that launched 2 months ago, not even quite 2 months ago, and have that as collateral integrated everywhere, considering that Athena, in my mind, is a CeFi product. It's funds that are held in a multi-computational or multi-party computational wallet, and then there's a delta neutral strategy being run on centralized exchanges. And really, the only smart contract portion of it is the deposit contract where you put funds in, and then the SUSDE staking contract where yield is directed. So I think this does definitely add risk for maker holders. I don't know if it's as much as others are saying, but there definitely are some liquidity issues at scale if this is unwound. But Hugh, I'd like to kind of get your thoughts on this added exposure for DAI holders to USDE and SUSDE, and more broadly, I guess, Athena's integration across DeFi.
Yeah, this one's a really tricky one. I mean, I'm still trying to catch up and make sure I understand everything that's going on. But I think the first thing is Athena USDC or USDE doesn't it doesn't seem as risky as I initially thought, and so there's definitely some. I think some people are viewing it perhaps a bit too negatively on the risk side in general. But I do think the one thing that is untested at the moment is how quickly it's grown and the scale that it's got to so quickly. Like I think in general, I like to see things grow a bit more slowly and be a bit more battle tested before they get huge. But this one's kind of gone straight to being huge. And so, if something does go wrong because there's such a large proportion of the open interests and stuff, then it can mean bigger problems, I think. So I think there's just one thing to worry about just in general about just how fast it is growing. But in terms of like the interaction with DAI, I really do have to get into this in a bit more detail. And I think it's one of those things again that if it's smaller and it starts and then it grows and you kind of understand it a bit more, then I feel a lot more comfortable than if you just go big straight away. So I think that the concern here is that everything is moving extremely quickly, and so it feels like someone's going to miss something. And but because it's moving so quickly, a whole bunch of people tend to make some assumptions about how things work. And when stuff goes wrong, it often goes wrong because someone doing one thing miscommunicates or misinterprets what another person's supposed to be doing or what they thought they were supposed to be doing, and there's a issue there with the people involved. And because there aren't always smart contracts in this stuff, it's a lot of it's run off chain. Then I think there's more opportunity for that to happen. So yeah, I think it's just generally the speed and the scale at which things are happening does cause me some concern at the moment. But to me, there isn't a massive obvious thing that you're like, oh, that could be a really big problem if it gets big. So I still want to get into more detail, but that's my initial thoughts at this stage.
Yeah, I tend to agree. I think that the risks, broadly speaking, with it being integrated everywhere, especially across lending markets, is more liquidity. Is there sufficient liquidity to unwind loans within a lending market? If something were to happen, if things are primarily stablecoin to stablecoin, then that risk is not as high. But again, it depends on what the parameters are, and what the situation looks like. If there's like a big cascade in USDE DPEGs, even though it's not really a stable coin. They market it as a synthetic dollar, but the only thing that holds the peg is essentially arbitrage between that and redemptions. But to be able to redeem it, you would need to be a KYC member within Athena. But yeah, I'll talk about that more in my State of DeFi Yields reports. I have some thoughts there. I've also shared some on Twitter that you can check out. But I think it's definitely something for mutual members to think about and consider. I think one of the things that I'll do is put up a proposal on the forum to add USDC to the capital pool. I'll put up that initial RFC later this week so that there's an option for people who don't want to be exposed to that risk when they're buying cover. They can just buy cover in USDC, just adding another option to the capital pool as well. But as far as yields go, I think we're still seeing some pretty significant opportunities on Gearbox and Pendle. I think that's where some of the larger opportunities are. There are also some within FX Protocol, which is a stablecoin protocol. They have a few other different products within there, but what they're doing right now is using FXN, their native token, to incentivize liquidity with other decentralized stablecoins and other stablecoin pairs. And so because of that, they basically have a gauge, and through convex, there's relatively high yields. I'll have that in my State of DeFi yield report as well. We've also got bundled protocol cover for that, which I've seen a few people buy here in the last week as more people are checking out that strategy. And yeah, on Pendle, we've seen a lot of cover buys for the bundle protocol cover, which I'll talk a little bit more about when we get to listings. We've seen a lot of cover buys come through for that, so there's a lot of people allocating liquidity staking tokens like EtherFi's EETH, RS ETH from KelpDAO, RSW ETH from Swell, and Easy ETH from Renzo. Gearbox on the ETH side is still, I think, 25% variable APY and their passive earned lending markets. I think on Pendle, the rates are somewhere between 30 and 60% for fixed deals for liquidity. For the principal tokens and yield tokens, I think it's on the higher side. So there's definitely still a lot of yield opportunities out there for both stablecoins and ETH, and a lot of this is primarily being fueled by the points mania across Athena and some of these liquid restaking protocols. So still a lot of people deploying capital in DeFi, still a lot of yield opportunities, even if things have cooled a bit for the week. I think as we go through April, it'll still be my personal opinion is it'll be a sideways market and everything. I think everyone's still banking on this ETH spot ETF, but we'll see what happens there, I guess, in May at some point. So I think things are still holding steady. Lots of yields out there. But we've gotten some requests for some new listings, which we've put up in the Nexus Mutual UI. And as far as bundle protocol cover listings, we've added quite a few here in the last couple weeks. So we initially added a bundle protocol cover product for EtherFi on Pendle, which covers Eigenlayer, EtherFi, and Pendle. We saw pretty substantial amount of demand for that. People have bought that. I think the price is still high on that one. We also added, per some members' requests, a KelpDAO bundle for Pendle, a Swell bundle for Pendle, and a Renzo bundle for Pendle. So all of those cover Eigenlayer, Pendle, and then those liquid restaking protocols. We've seen pretty substantial demand for those cover products as well. So we're working on opening up more capacity and talking with some of the staking pool managers, just because demand there has been so significant. I've seen people asking for it on Discord as well, and a few people have reached out to me on Twitter. So working on talking to some of the other staking pool managers and opening up capacity. We've also added a bundle protocol cover listing for EtherFi's Liquid Vault. We announced that last week. We're going to have a Twitter Spaces with them tomorrow. I'll go over that in a bit more detail here after I get through some of the listings. Like I said, we have a bundle protocol cover listing for FX Protocol, Curve, and Convex for their liquidity strategy. The Urine Juice Vaults, Quenta and Synthetics, Beefy and Curve, Beefy and Compound V3, and then Beefy, Balancer V2, and Aura. All of those listings are up for bundle protocol cover as well. We just announced the Quenta and Synthetics listing today, so we have quite a few up. If there are any bundle protocol cover listings that you would like to see, just shoot me a message on Twitter or send me a message on Discord, and we can definitely review that during our next product meeting. On the protocol cover side, we listed Notional V3. They just launched on their V3 on ETH mainnet, but they've been live on Arbitrum for like 6 months. So as they're growing liquidity on mainnet and everything, there's an option to buy cover there. If you're doing one of their leveraged liquidity or leveraged vault strategies on Arbitrum, you can buy cover to protect your deposits there as well. We also added a Morpho Blue market, the rep staked ETH and USDC market. We've added that. We'll be looking at some other Morpho Blue markets in the coming weeks as well. And then we also added Fraxlend protocol cover for those who are depositing collateral and borrowing Frax, or people that are supplying Frax to Fraxlend to earn yield. So we'll be adding some more listings in the next week, in the coming weeks. Again, if there's bundles that you would like, just reach out to me on Discord. On the OpenCover side, they've announced some additions to their offerings on L2. For those of you who aren't familiar, OpenCover is a protocol cover distribution platform built on L2. So you can buy cover without going through KYC on Optimism, Base, or Arbitrum. Lower transaction fees, same comprehensive cover that we provide here on mainnet. They just batch cover buys together on mainnet a couple times a day. They added Velodrome and then Gearbox Feed 3. They added both of those listings here in the last couple of weeks. They're going to be adding some more as well. They've got 2 more listing announcements that are coming out tomorrow. So keep an eye on the OpenCover Twitter accounts. And then OpenCover also announced a pretty exciting update last week, is that they've been added to Lloyd's of London's lab cohort. So Lloyd's of London is like the largest insurance market in the world, and they are a leading specialist with a long-standing history of innovation. So working within their lab cohort should be able to allow OpenCover to expand, maybe come with some cover product ideas of their own, and continue to build on top of Nexus and help people protect themselves in L2s. So keep an eye on OpenCover. I think there's a lot of exciting updates coming in the future for them as well. On the events side, we've got a couple Twitter Spaces events coming up. Like I said, on Wednesday at 2 p.m. Eastern, 6 p.m. UTC, we're going to be talking with the EtherFi team about their liquid vault, where people can deposit EETH or wrapped EETH, and that gets put through some DeFi strategies to earn yield. People in the liquid vaults also earn ETHFi token rewards and EtherFi loyalty points, as well as Eigenlayer points. We're going to be talking with them about the vault, as well as our bundle protocol cover listing for EtherFi Liquid. We'll be talking about a few other things on that space as well. So be sure to set yourself a reminder. You can find that on the Nexus Mutual Twitter account. We can also drop that below in the comments here in a bit as well. But yeah, that should be a really good space. I'm looking forward to talking with the EtherFi team. And then on Thursday, April 4th, at 11 a.m. Eastern or 3 p.m. UTC, we're going to be talking with the Wallfacer Labs team about Vaults FYI. If you're not familiar, this is the site that I use to get data for the state of DeFi yield. So I base the base rate in DeFi off of the 7-day average yields that they display on Vaults FYI. It's a really great platform for looking at, interest rates across lending markets or just DeFi yields across different platforms. I'm a really big fan of Vaults FYI, so we're going to be talking to them about the state of yields within DeFi, Vaults FYI, some of the other products they're building, and their view of the DeFi ecosystem on Ethereum, L2s, and some other networks as well. So that should be a really good interview that we have with them as part of our Covering DeFi series. We'll be talking a bit about risk, about what they're building, and what's happening within DeFi. So I recommend setting a reminder and checking that one out as well. Yeah, I think that's what I have for my updates. I'm going to pass things over to Hugh to give his update from the foundation. Hugh?
Cool, thanks, Brave. Yeah, a lot of things going on. I feel like everything's just picked up a lot recently because the yields are up and cover buys are up, and there's a lot more momentum around things. We're getting a lot more inbounds on various bits and pieces. There's quite a few detailed, tailored or bespoke coverage type proposals we're kind of working through with some different teams. So relatively early stages, but there's some good and interesting stuff in there. There's also looking to build out the syndicates on top of Nexus. So these are the people that run the staking pools, but also distribute coverage and potentially come up with new products. OpenCover is a really good one there, and as I've mentioned a few times before, they've got some interesting new products that are coming to launch over the next month or two. So that's pretty cool as well. So we're helping them with that, coming up with the cover wording and that type of thing. So I guess there's a lot of things on the sales and growth and BD side of things that are definitely keeping us busy. On the engineering side, we're working with EtherFi on integrations and that. So that's pretty exciting. Hopefully you'll hear more about that over the coming week or two. So yeah, there's some we're also, I guess, working more generally to make, they basically condense the cover process into something that's a whole lot more simpler for the end user. So, and they can do that at the point where they're allocating to the yield rather than having to come to Nexus site. So I think that's going to be really powerful. And we've got some really that's going to be coming in stages, and there's some really interesting stuff coming combined on the product side of things as well as the technical kind of integration side of things. So the engineers working hard on that stuff as well. So yeah, I feel like just in general, there's a whole bunch of different things going on. Inbound's increasing. We're getting a lot of these ad hoc deals, but I think more. More in general, what we're also exploring ways to basically encourage syndicates to build on top of us in more ways, and that can be very technical, or it can be very more brokerish, like kind of just more of the pure sales side of things. So I guess if anyone is interested in learning more about that, or has some ideas on that front, then please do reach out and get in touch. We're also going to be doing some outbound on that side of things over the coming months as well. So yeah, energy and everything's just happening at the moment. So it's really good to see, especially after bear market for quite a while. But yeah, definitely strong and positive momentum on a number of fronts. So yeah, happy to take on if you'd like to.
If there are no questions to you at the moment, Brave, why don't you go over our recent position announcement and have us take a sneak peek into the Q1 report?
Yeah, so on the DAO community team, we have an opening that we announced. I think it was not last week, but the week before. So we have an open position for a social media marketing manager within the DAO community team. The person that we're looking for is somebody who hopefully is familiar with DeFi, who is an active user within DeFi and is familiar with some of the basic protocols. Somebody who's obviously obsessed with social media, is comfortable posting on Twitter and LinkedIn, active on Discord, is familiar with some of these platforms, as well as maybe, some of the nice to haves are people that are familiar with Farcast or Lens, some of these new decentralized social media platforms. But, we're looking for somebody who's got a strong attention to detail, a creative mind, a knack for growth strategies, and somebody who's really passionate about DeFi. So we are trying to find somebody who wants to work with the DAO community team to help us educate people about protecting themselves with protocol cover, bundle protocol cover, and some of our other cover products. We have a lot that's in the pipeline, and we want somebody to work with us a little bit on strategy, but a lot of it on managing postings across our social media channels, which can be very time consuming, and just somebody who can kind of optimize the process and work with us a little bit more. We have a posting that is up on the governance forum, and you can apply through that process. If you're interested, or somebody who's interested, feel free to DM me on Twitter or send me a message on Discord. Happy to chat with somebody, kind of direct them to the forum post, but I can also share that in the thread for this call as well. So what we're offering is, it's a remote work environment, competitive pay with NetXM token allocation, and you'd be working as part of the DAO community team. So, we have our budget review process every 6 months. And then, you get to work with a blue chip protocol team working to make coverage more accessible across DeFi, and looking to develop new products and expand into new markets within crypto, and in traditional markets as well. So I think there's a lot of really exciting things happening within Nexus, and I'm looking forward to working with somebody who is also excited about that and excited about protecting more people on chain and off chain. So if you know anybody, feel free to refer them. Again, that'll be in the thread for today's call as well. I'll share that here in just a bit, and you can also see some announcements coming out that are scheduled as a reminder about that job opportunity from the main Nexus account and my personal Twitter account as well. So hoping we can find somebody here in the next month. And then I wanted to just talk a little bit about our Q1 Insights report. We're going to be publishing this on the Nexus Mutual Governance Forum on Thursday, but just some rough numbers here as we're going through and putting it together. We've seen a considerable amount of growth from Q4 to Q1. So Q4 2023 to Q1 2024, we've seen a 30% increase in cover sales. In terms of premium growth, we've seen a 162% increase in premiums quarter over quarter, and the commissions that have gone to the Dow Treasury, we've seen over 250% increase in commissions as well. This is pretty much offsetting the cost of the Dow teams primarily over time. So looking at some numbers, a little over 75 million in total cover sold, about 550K in cover fees that have accrued in the capital pool, 1.65 million in investment earnings, and about 1.56 million in buyback value from the RAM and people redeeming NXM. So across all of those, that's about 3.76 million in value growth to the capital pool across those three revenue streams. For the Dow commissions, that's $71,509 in commissions that have gone to the Dow Treasury just here in the last quarter. A large portion of the cover buys that have come through are still protocol cover, but with the launch of bundle protocol cover, we've seen a decent amount of cover buys come through and a significant amount of premiums come through for bundle cover. So it looks like people are really enjoying the bundle cover and the ability to buy one cover NFT for smart contract risk across multiple protocols. So we're excited to share more information in that Q1 Insights report, but a really nice start to our initiative to grow more cover sales here throughout the year. So I think this is just the beginning, and there's a lot more that we have in the coming quarter that should help us increase cover sales, increase premium growth, and increase some more commissions to the Dow. For OpenCover's performance, about 3 million in cover sales in Q1 and 14,000 in cover fees in Q1. We're already seeing some large cover buys coming through OpenCover here in Q2, and we're off to a very good start in Q2 as well. But look for that report on Thursday on the governance forum. We'll send out an announcement, but some really exciting developments and numbers there as well. But I will pass things off to Sem to give the update on the last week in cover sales. Sem?
Thanks, Brave. Looking at the last week in review, it was the last week of the month March, and also the last week of Q1. We sold about $15.4 million of cover, and our members earned more than $179,000 worth of premiums. Our active cover amount jumped from the previous week. I think the jump was about 30%, and we have seen most of the cover buys through bundled protocol cover. Like Brave had highlighted, we will have a section in the Q1 report on bundled protocol cover and its performance, but in the last 2 weeks, we have seen more than $7 million of cover sold, and the product has been a huge success. Looking at the previous week, we also see Pendle on the top of the list. So it's the previous week of March, and we had $8.2 million worth of cover sold in that week as well. So overall, we're, like Brave highlighted, we're seeing increased cover sales week over week, and the Q1 report will provide a good overview with the main highlights and what is up next for the mutual. Now I want to kick things off for the open forum and receive any questions from the community. But before I do that, I want to share some details about how we're going to distribute the POAP. If you're listening to us, please follow the Nexus Mutual DAO Twitter account. If you're not doing it already, it's not this main account, but it's the DAO account, and you should be able to find it in the main account somewhere, Nexus Mutual DAO. And if you could send a DM to that account requesting a POAP, I will and we will reach out to the DMs and let you know what the path forward is to claim the POAP. So please do so. It's a neat little POAP that we designed with some group of turtles, and I think it's a good memorabilia. But yeah, let's kick the open forum. Let's get it started. What are you doing these days in DeFi? And also, Brave, do you have any other questions to the listener community here?
Yeah, I think the only thing on my side is for the POAP. If you DM the Nexus Mutual DAO account, we'll send you a claim link for the POAP if you'd like one. So I'm just leaving a comment right now that tags the Nexus Mutual DAO account, so you can find that in the comments. Go there and then send a DM to that account, and we will distribute the POAP links that way. But yeah, I would love to know what anybody here is doing in DeFi, what they're interested in, and if they have any questions about the mutual or anything that we're doing on our end. And if you want to come up on the stage, just make a request and I'll bring you on up. In the meantime, I just wanted to highlight the Nexus Mutual staking pools. So for people that manage staking pools, Hugh and myself both manage a staking pool within the mutual. You can create your own staking pool and manage your NXM stake. You can stake and delegate your NXM to an existing pool manager. But with that uptick in cover buys, we're seeing some pretty sizable pool APYs for some of the different staking pools. The Nexus Mutual Foundation pool, which is a private pool that you can't delegate to, is currently in the lead with the highest pool APY of 21.61% on the NXM in that pool. And then pool 22, which is my pool, is at about 59% APY. Some other high APYs on Hugh's personal pool and the E's medium risk pool as well. We've seen some increases in APYs on the Sherlock pool as they've just recently bought some more cover there. So I think we'll see higher APYs on a lot of these pools as we see growth in cover over time. So if you're interested in creating and managing your own staking pool or staking and delegating, be sure to check out the stake tab on the Nexus Mutual user interface. So you can find that there and look at the pools and see what each pool manager is underwriting and at what price. But I think it's been pretty exciting to see some of these pool APYs take off after kind of hovering in the 6 to 8% range for a while. So as we sell more cover, you can expect for those pool APYs to kind of grow over time as well. But yeah, if anybody has any requests, feel free. Otherwise, if not, we can wrap things up.
All right. If you don't have any questions now, but do so in the future, you can find us on Discord. Thanks everybody for joining us today. We will have our next community call on the 16th of April, and we'll make sure to spread the word on our socials. But set your reminders for the EtherFi conversation tomorrow and for the Covering DeFi in Series 1 Thursday. We look forward to seeing you there. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Bye.